Hey, Katie, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back on.
I'm excited to chat. So, for everyone who doesn't know who are you? What's your business? What do you do?
I'm Katie Ferro. I have a bookkeeping business, and that's really where I focus now. I focus on bookkeeping. I have done for you bookkeeping services. I create spreadsheets and courses and educate entrepreneurs on understanding their numbers when they're just getting started, make it very simple and easy. And now I also coach bookkeepers on how to grow their own practices.
Amazing. So, Katie is our bookkeeper. If you need one, highly recommend. She's been amazing. It's been like a year, yeah, that we've been working together for that.
Yeah, I think we've probably passed that mark now. Yep.
Holy crap, time just flies. I can't even.
Yeah.
Cool. So, how did you get into doing this? And let's just dive in.
Yeah, well, I come from a more complicated background. I am a CPA and I did the whole corporate thing. And right before I had my son, just the stars aligned for me to leave corporate. We'll make that a short story. The stars aligned for me to leave corporate in a way I couldn't ignore. And I did not have my next steps laid out. I had done taxes before, worked in big corporations. I had just left being a manager it was a multi-billion dollar corporate environment. Then I had my son and I was doing the stay-at-home mom thing for a while when people who knew that I had the background that I had started coming to me. It was a lot of referrals from a CPA firm that I had worked at, and they either had they just had clients that weren't the right fit. So they started introducing me to them and asking if I would take them on. And I didn't have anything formal in place, but I was like, why not? And I just said yes and kept going through the motions of saying yes and seeing what I could do while being home. And my goal was always really focused on continuing to be a stay-at-home mom. The purpose of my business was to make it so that I never had to go back to corporate.
And tell
I
us how many kids you have under what age?
I have 3 kids under 5. My son is
Yep.
really just 4. He just turned 4 a few months ago. So I have a 4-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and a 7-month-old. And when I started taking on clients, my one child was 10 months old, but I was pregnant. And it was always my focus to continue to be home. Once I started making money, I had this moment where I was realizing, like, I'm actually working and I'm actually bringing in money. And I never wanted to lose that. So that's when I had this idea to start educating entrepreneurs. I had enough of an insight to see that there were a lot of really, really easy to avoid simple things that people could have done when starting their businesses that were turning into problems later that didn't need to be. So I had the idea to start educating entrepreneurs to replace my corporate income. That's when I met you and started kind of branching into the online world, started putting stuff out there online. And then throughout that process, everything just kind of came into place.
Mhm.
So now I build I build spreadsheets and have courses. Like I said, I do a lot of trainings to educate entrepreneurs. And from that, this is an interesting spin. From that, I noticed a lot of accountants following me. And that's when I shifted into teaching accountants how to do what I did, how to have that part-time profitable business that can replace or exceed your corporate salary and allow you to have time freedom.
Love it. Okay, so you've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of times entrepreneurs, what I see is they just have like their head in the sand when it comes to their numbers, and they like don't look at it, or they don't want to know, or it just freaks them out, and numbers freak them out. So what are some of those mistakes that you see, like when you decided to make that pivot and really work with entrepreneurs? What are some of those like big mistakes that you saw?
So the big mistakes that I was talking about were originally on like the setting up your business, not putting money aside for taxes, not registering a business at all, or not doing the right kind of business. Sometimes people, and this is really something that's too complex to dive into, but I do have a blog about it. I see people who would make their business an S corp before it made sense, and then they would make the mistake of not paying themselves payroll, and it can get them audited, those types of things. So those were more complex things. They're still not complex, but more complex than I even realized. Where people really struggle is even just looking at their numbers.
Yes.
So for me, I didn't know how big of a gap there was. I didn't realize how much of a true mindset issue that it is. And now that I've done so many trainings and had the experience of being on and getting the Q&As at the end, invaluable for me to understand really where the gaps are. And now when I take clients on, I used to take clients on and assume that they had some things under control, because as a numbers person, it's just not that's a different nature, that's my zone of genius. So there's a lot of things where people struggle that I just would never have imagined. And then when I get on with my clients, I don't take anything for granted anymore. And we talk about everything. I make it a real safe space where we can have a lot of dialogue about what they're doing, why they're doing it or not doing it. And then we reframe and start focusing on things differently. So I would say now, knowing what I know, the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make with their numbers is fearing them, not looking at them, and telling themselves that it's complicated, because it's
Mm-hmm.
not.
Totally. And I was one of those entrepreneurs back when we were living in Chaminot, northeastern France, and our business, like I was in network marketing, and my checks kept going down and down and down when they made that pivot from DVDs to digital, and it was so stressful. And I was like, I don't even want to look at our bank account because I know like there's not a lot in there, and it was hard. So how do you help people like overcome just that fear?
Yeah, so I get it now. Like when it's explained to me like that almost gave me goosebumps. I get it now, but I didn't get it then. And so how I tell them to get over the fear is really just almost getting over anything. Like I do a comparison a lot, and I think maybe a lot of your audience, since you were a Beachbody coach at one point, will get this. I compare it to like a weight loss journey or a health journey, because it doesn't even need to be weight loss, but you have to have some sort of a measure to benchmark against if you're trying to improve. And like if you're not in the best health, okay, you might not like that, but you can't, ignoring it is not going to change that, right? And that, to me, that's the past, and you can't dwell on that. So you have to see where you are, and then you just fix it. It's a progress. You have plenty of time. It's never too late. If you continue to ignore it, it will only get worse.
Yep.
And if you face it head on, and then you say, all right, and what's going to happen when you do? And so I'm going to say, like, I compare it to stepping on the scale. So like you get all nervous, undress yourself,
So
step on the
true.
scale, hold your breath, and then you're like, ugh. And it's either going to be one
Yes.
of two things. It's either going to be worse than you thought or a lot better than you thought.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which one it is, you're going to know what to do next.
Yep.
So I'm talking about looking at your numbers now. So if you haven't, that stepping on the scale with your numbers is just catching everything up and taking a look at what your profit or loss is to date. Right now we're recording this in May of 2020. So I would recommend going from January to now. In whatever year you are, start and just catch yourself up for the year. And it's really very simple. So profit is what you need to be paying attention to, not just sales, because you can make sales and lose money.
Yep.
So you want, and sales are great, but you can make $100,000 worth of sales and keep 90,000, or you can make $100,000 worth of sales and make 10,000 or even lose money. So
Yep.
sales are not really the thing that drives your business. It doesn't keep you in business. It doesn't change your life or the lives of others. It's profit that does that. So profit is simply sales minus costs. That's it. So if you can subtract, you can come up with profit, and it's just sales minus costs. That's all. So if you have not done this, you just need to catch up your books from January to now, and then take a look. How much money have you made in sales? How much money have you spent to make that money? And then what are you left with? Either a profit or a loss. If it's a profit, how do you feel about it? Do you want that to be higher? If so, I'll branch into how to increase profit. But if it's a loss, what do you need to do to turn it into a profit?
Mm.
And I'm gonna go a little bit deeper here to say too that it's okay to lose money in the beginning. It's okay. And the goal is just to figure out how to make your business profitable. It's just a process.
Cool. So how do we increase profit if we're looking at that number and we're not happy? What should
Yeah.
we do?
So it's sales minus costs equals profit, right? So to increase profit, you either increase sales or you decrease costs. That's it. So I recommend, if you're not that familiar with what's coming in and out, and it's shocking how you're spending, you're bringing in money, and you really don't know unless you're tracking it. It is just the same as a diet,
Yeah.
because you don't realize how many cookies you ate, or you just don't realize it, and it's shocking. And so if you're not that in tune with your expenses, I recommend looking at them, doing a little gut check. Am I using this? Do I need this? Is this bringing me value now, or will it bring me value later? Does it earn me money, save me time? Those are good questions to ask yourself. And then one of my clients, Megan, yesterday came up with this great one that I didn't come up with, that I love, which is, what am I paying for that I'm not using that might help me? So what can I stop spending and not using, start using it, and see if that doesn't move the needle in my business also. I liked that one, because I I think that you can cut costs to an extent on things that aren't valuable, or you're testing and they didn't work out. But I'm not the biggest believer in just cutting it down to bare bones, because I really believe that you need to invest in your business and treat it like a business
Yep.
to make more money. And you need to take risks and you need to test, but you just need to be aware of if that's working or not. So once you've done that, that's where I recommend starting on the costs. But once you get down to the point where the costs are the costs, then you start looking at the sales. And sometimes it's strictly mindset, and you're not trying to make sales.
Yeah.
So when you see how much you've invested and you're like, I've really got to start proving to myself and maybe anyone else who might be feeding into some negativity that this is real and this can work, I'm going to launch something. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to promote my calls. I'm going to sign clients this month, you know? So sometimes it's just seeing what you're spending and saying, I've got to turn this around. But increasing your sales is either increasing your reach, how many people you're serving or products you're selling, or increasing your price. So if you're reaching as many as you can and your costs are as low as they can be, then you need to increase your price. And I don't say that arbitrarily, like you can kind of figure out what your price needs to be. And then my thing is make the value match it. So
Mhm.
increase your value to match the price that you need.
Yeah, and I'll add something to that. Another way that what we're doing right now. So we have our Pinterest webinar where we're selling Pin with Purpose, and we're just kind of thinking like, how could we impact more people that are going through this process, signing up for the course, and how could we make our funnel for that more profitable? We're like, well, we could add like different offers to that existing funnel. So it's not necessarily finding more people or increasing price on that offer. It's just adding on like when they're already purchasing something else that would really support them as they're going through that process.
Right. So another thing that I'm putting a big focus on for myself and sharing a lot too is your affiliate, any affiliate thing. What do
Yeah.
you love and use that has an affiliate program? How can you incorporate that in and add that extra stream of revenues? I'm wearing my Kajabi shirt right now. Kajabi
Hey.
is one of my favorite platforms. I'm obsessed with it. I share it with anyone. I use it. I would keep it just for my bookkeeping business. And so why wouldn't I talk about it?
Yeah.
When you have it, you can earn 30% affiliate forever. It's one of the
Nice.
greatest things. So it can almost like replace clients that I have with that stream. So all I do is keep mindful of it, share my link and talk about it. And
Yep.
then that grows. And then there's just other things that you can do, and come up with ways to grow your affiliate. And then also, if you're not already doing it, I'm sure a lot of your audience already is, but digital products. Like for me, it's spreadsheets. So I create a spreadsheet, I create videos, and I make sure to talk about how it can help. And now I'm selling digital products with not a lot of overhead. It meets a need. And then it also is a great stepping stone. So it'll
Mhm.
help somebody who's at the DIY level, but then when they start to do better, they'll say, Katie really helped me during that DIY stage and it elevated me. And now I'm ready for somebody to take it over.
Yeah. What are some of those expenses that you think you shouldn't cut that are definitely worth it and you should keep in?
Expenses that you should keep in.
Yeah.
Um, Anything, like I said, that saves you time or frustration,
Mhm.
and anything that brings you sales.
Mhm.
So, like, and that's different for absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
And, but that's the gut check that you need to do on your own business. So I say that, like, I handle the numbers and then I give my clients this really clear snapshot of what's coming in and what's going out. And then they intuitively know what to do with that. because they understand the ins and outs of their business and how those sales and costs feel. So one thing for me, I have like a one-on-one coach. I'll never get rid of her.
Yep.
She's my second brain. She gives me so much clarity, and it's the biggest ROI I've ever had in my business. I think it's low for what it is too, but she brings me exponentially more than I pay every single month. I'll never cut that, and never. And then like my bookkeepers, they help me, they help me serve as many clients as I can. So they're a great expense. Kajabi replaces so many platforms for me and makes me not have to bill. I'm able to bill everybody on auto. I have my website. I'm able to package in my digital products and my emails. I'm never getting rid of it. As long as I have a business, I'll have Kajabi. But Kajabi might not be right for everybody and every business. So if you have it and you're not paying for it and something else works better for you, then that wouldn't be the right expense for you. And then I'm trying to think of anything that just kind of, I mean, if you had great ads going on and your ads are bringing you passive revenue, you wouldn't cut those. But then there's some people that have been doing ads for, 90 days. They've given it a good shot and there's something that's still missing. Maybe it's clarity in what they're even offering. And maybe now is just a time to pause it, figure something else out and pick that back up later. So ads can be a great thing, or they can be not the right time.
Yeah.
So those are just examples.
How you mentioned your coach, because that could easily be one of the most expensive things that you have in your business. I know for us, our numbers, we spend like $75,000 a year on just having mentors and coaches that are helping us grow. And that could easily, like when you're looking at cutting expenses, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's so much money going out every month. But when I look at it, I'm thinking, like, how can I get the biggest ROI from working with this person? And
Absolutely.
when I was thinking about signing up to work with one of them, I'm like, all right, it's $24,000 a year to work with this person for the year. There could be one strategy, one thing that I learned that easily brings us an extra $24,000 this year.
Absolutely.
Like it could be like a 5-minute conversation where she's
Yep.
like, what if you did this? And I'm like, I just made my money for the entire year of working with her.
I keep buying courses from Taylor Slango, actually. I keep buying her stuff
Love
because,
Taylor.
and we went through IBA together with you. She's a client of mine. We're like biz besties, we're friends, but I know that I'm going to get more out of her products than I will in a conversation. I'm not a brain picker. And I'm like, I probably know most of this, but I always have at least one takeaway that makes the whole thing worth it.
Yeah.
So I keep buying that because it could be one sentence that gives me the ROI. And I did a post, I don't know if you saw it, but I did a post because I thought it would be helpful. And my clients that make the most dollars in profit all have the same highest expense. And it's business development. And that's where I put the coaching, the courses, the networking events, and anything used to like get you the knowledge and insight to grow your business. Hands down, it's always the biggest category of my most profitable clients. So I thought it was worth sharing. And you're not making that up and you're not alone.
For sure. So let's get back to tracking, because this is something, I mean, when you met me, I was using like this handy dandy spreadsheet that I created. It was kind of just like bootstrapping, obviously, because I didn't have you doing our books and everything. But you've created a spreadsheet to simplify everything for the DIY entrepreneur who's not ready to hire you yet. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. Why don't you tell them what the URL that they can go to see? Because on that page, I have this like 2 to 3 minute really fun video that's super visual. And then I'll walk you through the rest auditorily. What's the link?
RachelandGom.com/profit.
All right, great. Because that's a really fun video that I had made, and it's fun. It's a sexy little spreadsheet, and it's like, ooh, because
Only
what
you
I
would say
saw,
spreadsheets are sexy.
I know. Somebody just called it the
I love it.
non-sexy side of business, and I'm like, I disagree. I think you're just doing it wrong.
I love you.
So I focused on making it fun, easy, and flipping it upside down on its head, because I'm like, where are the gaps here? This is just overcomplicated. So I'm going to make this thing so simple. You're not going to have to do any math. You can't tell me that you're bad at numbers. There's no numbers. You're going to be keying in stuff from your statement. So it's a tracker. It has a tab per month. and you'll go in, you'll print your statement. The number one rule of all of this, which I'll tell you over and over, is to have your business bank accounts separate. So you're just going to pull your business bank account, and then you're going to put sales on one side, costs on the other. There's drop down boxes for categories. I filled some in, but they're customizable. And you get walked through that in a training video when you get it on how to use it. And you'll put in your sales, you'll give them a category, you'll put in your costs, you'll give them a category, and then on the right-hand side of the sheet, it's going to do its magic all by itself. You don't have to do a thing. You don't even have to press a button. Anytime that you change something on the sales and the cost, it's going to update for you. And it's going to sum everything up the way that I like to show it to my clients, which gives you insights on how things are going. So it's going to give you your income by category, and it's going to show you what that highest category is. It color codes it for you. That's my favorite part. And it'll give you the percentage of income. So for example, if you have one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and courses, those could be your categories. Affiliate also, digital, whatever it needs to be. And then it'll say, okay, you're making 53% of your income from your group coaching. So you'll be able to see that at a glance. And then it'll show you your costs in the same way. And you'll be able to see every category of your cost summarized so that you can see where most of your money is going. And so if it's that business development, you'll see that it'll have a percentage and it'll highlight it. And it's going to give you a percentage for every single expense. So a lot of online businesses also have like softwares and subscriptions are a big expense. Maybe office supplies, if you're decorating your office or buying some planners, maybe your VAs, contractors, that kind of stuff is all going to be in there, and you'll be able to see that at a glance. And then it's going to do an even higher level thing and just show you total sales minus total costs equals profit. And it'll give you the metric that I like to share with my clients, which is the profit percentage. And that is how many cents per dollar you get to keep as profit of your sales. So if it's 75%, then you got to keep 75 cents per dollar of sales as profit. And I show that metric just for you to benchmark against yourself, really. There's no right or wrong on that. We can talk about that in a second. And it also goes a step further. And then we'll say, all right, this is the profit that you made this month. Now, you can plug in what percentage you want to save for taxes. It'll calculate that. And every month you can take that and put it in a separate account so you're saving for your taxes.
Amazing. And it is a very sexy spreadsheet. You shared this with our Activate students and everyone's just like, ooh, ah.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
so helpful.
Yeah. And a couple of them, they're just like raving fans. And then when you're in my community, you can come into the Facebook group, you ask a question about how do I categorize this? How does this work? And you get answers. So it's really great because there's also support involved with it, but it'll give you quarterly summaries where you don't touch it. It'll show you for the year, and you'll be able to see every month over month what your sales, expenses, profit, and profit percentage were. And when you can see that, you'll just be able to really understand your business better. You'll be able to start really planning around your profit. You'll be able to make your business profits grow or make your business more passive as the profit margin goes down, but maybe your profit dollars go up. It's just a fun, addicting thing to do. Once you rip the Band-Aid off and you catch it up, you'll be obsessed with going in and doing it. I made a shift about a year or so ago, and I decided to do my books before any clients. So I'm like my number one client. I always go in and do mine first because then I'm in the energy of it being fun. And then I like to show it to my clients, and I like to celebrate whatever's going on. So that's a huge part of what I do. But the spreadsheet, it's customizable. I'm always enhancing it, and it really can replace QuickBooks or Xero, and it'll be easier to use and give you more powerful insight when your business is still in that just getting started phase. And it can take you about an hour a month.
Amazing. Yeah. So the link to get that again is rachelandgom.com/profit, and you can use the code impact. It's so powerful to see. I love looking at like the trends, like the quarterly profits. So
Yes.
Q1 of this year was our highest profiting quarter that we've ever had. And it's really exciting to see like those numbers grow. And I love it. So talk to us about the profit percentage. What's a good percentage that we should be aiming for?
Yeah, I just did a whole post on this because that's a question that I get over and over and over again is what's industry standard?
Hmm.
What should I be striving for? And again, this may be hard. Like in my post, I give examples that you can follow it a little bit more, but basically it's just a percentage. So it's just a metric. And my answer is it's completely unique to you, your business, and what your goals are. So it's really there to compare your business every month. What I'll say is that my most profitable businesses by dollars tend to have lower profit percentages.
Hmm.
That means that they spend more money to make their money, but they make more of it at the end of the day. And so I'm going to compare it to like, let's say I have a massage therapist and I'm making this up. There's a massage therapist. She's the only one that works in her business. Every time she's making money, she's actually working on somebody. She might make 50 grand in a year and keep 40 grand as profit.
Hmm.
So that's 40,000 divided by 50,000, and that'll give you 80%. So that's a high profit margin.
Hmm.
But she may work full time to make that. And I want to preface this with there's nothing wrong with that. She may love what she does. She may love working full time. 40 grand may be more than enough for her to comfortably live her life and she's happy. And so that 80% is great for her. But then you can have somebody who makes $1 million in sales. Their business is passive and they work 10 hours a week. They employ a team, which by itself is amazing because they're able to give opportunity to all of these team members.
Yep.
And then they might keep 200,000 as profit at the end of the year, which would be 20% profit.
Hmm.
Are you following?
Yes.
So yeah, it's very, very auditory, but in the first example, it's 50,000 of sales versus a million of sales, 40,000 of profit versus 200,000 of profit, 80% profit for the one who made less money and worked more, or 20% profit for the person who worked part-time, kept more money, and employed a team.
Yep.
So it really depends on your goals. And you could watch your profit percentage go down while your profits go up because your sales went up by that much too.
Yeah.
So I never want anybody to get stuck on any metric at all. I don't think you should be striving for six figures if it doesn't suit your lifestyle. I don't think that if you reach six figures, you need to go for seven figures. I don't think that you need a 20% profit margin or an 80% profit margin, but I do think that you need to be in tune with what you want out of life and your business and understand what the numbers are telling you about that.
Let me share an example with like the $1 million business. So, like, as we have our baby, who's probably, I hear her crying. So, I'm sure my husband's going to bring her in any minute so I can feed her while we're doing this. And so, as we're looking at growing and expanding Activate, our program, our coaching program, I'm thinking, all right, how could I serve as many people, impact as many people, especially now with coronavirus and so many people losing their jobs? Like, this is a program I need to get into like as many people's hands as possible without me taking a lot of my personal time because I want to be mom focused first. And so I'm thinking, like, how could we actually make this happen? It's going to come down to me hiring a sales director, which is going to cost us probably $6,000 a month plus commissions. So it's going to be a lot going out at first, but it's going to help us increase that profit number by the end of the year, right? So that's just a little bit of an example for people.
It gives me chills too, because what you're saying is so important because
Mm-hmm.
you're hitting on everything there. You know that what you're doing matters. You know that it gets results. You know that if you scaled back just to spend more time with your family, like you just said, I don't want to do any of this, you'd have your time with the family, but other people would actually suffer.
Yep.
And now you're able to keep more money, impact more lives with the donations that you make from your business, employ that salesperson, and you're still home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a win-win-win-win-win solution, and that's what I'm always looking for. But yeah, it brings back the importance of thinking through these things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not always got to be so uh, defined. You can think about what you're going for and then what fits in what you're going for in your business, and then make it as impactful and as much of a win as possible. I love it.
For sure. You gave me chills when you went through all those wins. I was like, whew, so exciting. Cool. Well, did I miss anything? Anything else you want to add?
I think that's the most important stuff. I know, we wanted to dive into a little bit of what's going on, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, what did you want to how
I
did you
don't
want to do
know.
that?
So, like, what do you see with businesses happening right now with profit and like brick and mortars closing down and everything? Like, what are some things that people need to make sure they have in place? As, by the way, like you said, we're talking about this in May 2020. So, coronavirus and businesses are shutting down. It's just like craziness happening right now. So, what are some things that we should be focused on right now?
Yeah, we're about 2 months into quarantine and shutdowns. And when this all started, I did what everyone did, as I immediately saw people getting laid off. I have a cleaning lady, a babysitter. My cleaning lady came in the next like couple of days and said she had already lost $600 a month in her business. My babysitter's other family cut her, and immediately, like without hesitation, immediately. And so I started thinking, all right, what's going to happen? Restaurants are closing. What's going to happen with my business? And like I said, now I coach bookkeepers. I have bookkeeping clients. I have my spreadsheets. I have, affiliate income, all of this stuff. But I'm thinking I was about to relaunch my coaching program, and I needed to make sure in my head that what I was offering was still relevant.
Mm.
So I was patient. I actually kind of like paused a little bit on the launch because I wanted to see what happened with my clients before I made my big shift. Everybody go out and, buy my coaching program. I really only sell things when I really believe in them, and I wanted to pause for a second and assess. So I had 18 clients at the time, and 2 clients paused services.
Mm.
I do have a pretty diverse range of clients. So those ones they have storefronts and they see people in person. They're acupuncturists, both of them. So their store closed, they stopped bringing in money, and they started calling to freeze everything. And I was so on board with them freezing me and anything else. I'm like, call for forgiveness here and call for forgiveness there. But other than that, everybody else needed me more.
Mm.
So what I did is I made sure, again, they're still paying me. I know they still need me. So I'm not going to offer that I go away. But what I did is checked in with everybody,
Yeah.
and I hopped on more calls. So I increased my value. I like to talk to people anyway. So I hopped on more calls and listened to where people were. And then I was so grateful for my experience in what I could offer as suggestions for my clients to think about. How can you adapt right now?
Mm.
So we talked about, what's going on, and do you have opportunities you lost this client, you lost that, but could you lean here more a little bit? Could you even just use this as a time to be there? And could you consider yourself restarting, with, for example, one of my clients runs ads, Google ads for restaurants. So they immediately saw pausing on their clients as well. But those restaurants are likely to reopen. So keep the relationship, serve them the way that I'm serving them, allow them to pause, and then anticipate that they'll come back. And I focused more on where they might have opportunity to make money versus save money. But I have shifted heavily into the online space. So what I'll say is, with most of my clients being online businesses, it is shocking how much profit was made in April of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking.
Yeah.
I have some of my clients had their biggest months in sales ever in April of 2020,
Mm.
because people are seeing now the importance of being able to be online. Everything, even people that I know, lactation consultants who were doing things virtually,
Yep.
started seeing an uptick in that, and then also getting reach outs from other practitioners asking, how do I do this?
Oh, Kelly, I didn't know Kelly's one of your clients.
She's not yet, but just
Not
we
she will be.
talked.
Yeah.
She's not
I,
yet. We talked.
she will be.
Yeah, we talked though, because her business is booming. She had a very
Mhm.
good month, and
Yep.
yeah, it's just interesting to see. So what I'll say is, really, it's been shown to me what's really important right now is having the ability to serve people remotely,
Mm-hmm.
selling something of value with a transformation, and having a diversified income
Yep.
suite.
Yep.
in your
Basically
business.
everything that I've been preaching for the past 2 years.
And you never would have thought how important this would be. So for me, I had
No.
2 clients pause, but I also signed new clients.
Yep.
And then I have clients, once I saw what was going on, all of my bookkeeping clients are still signing new clients.
Mhm.
And so from that, I relaunched and I've got more bookkeepers coming into the program, and we're seeing incredible things going on that side. People are absolutely still hiring bookkeepers. But I also saw a heavy uptick in my spreadsheets, and even courses that were like buried down that I wasn't promoting were being purchased in April and May, because people are online searching those things, how to start your business online, and that's the relevant stuff. So you definitely want to have that diversified thing that can meet everybody at all levels. So if you see something go down, something else is swinging up. And I see that with one of my clients is they do therapy for children, and they see in person, they have a brick and mortar, and then they have courses. And so the brick and mortar obviously went down and the courses went way up.
Hmm.
So she was able to, I think, have more profit than usual, even though her brick and mortar is losing money right now.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, such an important conversation. Oh my goodness. Where can we connect with you?
So you can find me on my Facebook group, which is the Profit Pursuit Community. That's really where I show up first. And I always give monthly reminders of the tax deadlines and your reminder to do your books, because it's easy to fall behind.
Yep.
And you can sign up for those emails to make sure that they come to your inbox and it's all clean and visual and nice. And you can do that at katieferro.com/membership.
Cool. And you can grab her spreadsheet that she was talking about to help you actually start tracking this stuff at rachelandgom.com/profit and use the code IMPACT. Girl, I'm so proud of you and everything that you've accomplished. You're helping so many people, and what you're doing is so, so valuable. So you're amazing. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us for the second time. I just really appreciate you.
Thank you for your role in this too, which has been huge.
Oh, well, I adore you, and I hope we get to see each other soon when quarantine's over and get the littles together.
Yes.